A massive thank you to Daryl for sponsoring this video on Patreon. Well, if the Glen video didn't break the dislike button, then this one might. A 4-player Walking Dead game featuring Michonne, Ruthless Survivor, Daryl, Hunter of Walkers, Rick, Steadfast Leader, and Negan, the Cold-Blooded. A big thank you to you all for coming out in support of the channel, by the way, during that Glen video. It did get mobbed by dislikes, and it's fair enough. If people don't like the Walking Dead cards, I don't think it's right to try and punish content creators for making content based around those cards. But obviously it's fair enough if you're against those cards themselves. Anyway, I thank you all very much for coming out in your droves to stick up for me. I didn't ask anyone to do that, so the fact that you all just did it off your own backs means a lot. Okay, I'm just going to insert a quick bit of audio here talking about my thoughts on the whole Secret Lair thing. You can skip ahead if you're not interested. I'll put a timestamp in the description. I think there's 3 main points, really. The first is that they should never have been printed in such a limited print run as unique cards like they are. They will print magic versions of these, I think, but it'll probably take at least 2 years for us to see those, because I imagine they don't feel as though they can just slap them in any set. Strangely enough, actually, I think these would have suited an Innistrad set nicely, or even something like Commander Legends, but I don't think we're seeing them in those. So anyway, I don't think we're going to be seeing a magic printing of these anytime soon. And even if they do, I think people are still going to be bitter about these cards, even the magic versions of them, and they'll still refuse to play them even then. Wizards know exactly what they're doing. They know it'll sell because of the uniqueness of the cards, and I think because of that, people are going to buy them because of the fact that there are unique cards in the set. And if I'm right and people do decide to buy this set in their droves, then I would expect to see more of these Secret Lairs in the future. I think this is just a testing ground for them. And I think it is even Hasbro that are pushing Wizards to do this, but I have no evidence to back that up. So I would expect Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and even Harry Potter for the new Wizarding School set that we're getting soon, stuff like that, to be apparent in a Secret Lair set in the future. Again, I don't agree with what the company's doing from a consumer perspective. I think what they should have done is release the magic versions in whatever set they were going to release them in, and then release the Secret Lair Walking Dead versions of them alongside the what would be original printing, say it is in Innistrad for instance, and then give it the Godzilla treatment that everyone's talking about. I think that would have been a lot better, but it also would have tanked, well, not necessarily tanked, but it would have greatly depleted the sales of the Walking Dead Secret Lair, which is, exactly why they didn't do it. But it's not their job to keep customers happy or keep the format the way you want it. Their job is to make money, and that's not very popular, but they're a company, and that's all there is to it. They found a way to make some easy money, potentially, and that's what they're doing. So if you're against these types of business practices, then all you can really do is vote with your wallet and not buy them. And then you can voice your opinion in a reasoned and rational way. Write to Wizards themselves or Hasbro. Doubt they'll pay a blind bit of attention to you, but you can do that. You could try and rally people together. Again, I hope in a respectful and responsible way, in a rational way. Maybe rally people to boycott the set. That's something that you could do, and that would affect the market, and then Wizards wouldn't do this again because it wouldn't make any money. But I am on the side of the fence that says that this is going to make a lot of money, it's going to be successful, and they're going to continue to do it. Whether we see original and unique cards in the next Secret Lair sets that are branded, with other IPs. Yeah, that's anyone's guess at this point. The second point that I'm going to talk about is that I think people have a problem with Negan specifically. For anyone who doesn't know, and you might want to skip over this bit or cover children's ears, Negan is a tyrannical maniac with a harem of women that he's forced to be his wives and have sex with him and all that type of thing. And that seems to be people's main issue with him. They don't seem, from what I've seen, to care about the bloody murders and the fact that he's bludgeoned people to death, the fact that he's killed people in front of their friends and loved ones, and he's a fascist, he tortures people, he manipulates people. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The same is true for villains in this game, actually, and no one's really ever cared about that. Violence and mass murder seems to be okay, but rape seems to be crossing the line. And I get why people, specifically victims of rape, wouldn't want to be reminded of something like that while playing a game that you would assume most of us play for some form of escapism. So with that in mind, I would say that people shouldn't be made to feel guilty or foolish or anything if they don't want to play against a card like Negan or with a card like Negan. Yeah, people need to be compassionate about things like this, I think. But on the other side of the fence, people need to also understand that the world doesn't, and this sounds callous, I don't mean it to sound like this, but the world doesn't, and it genuinely doesn't, come to a standstill because something horrific has happened. Again, we all need to be compassionate and caring of each other and people that have suffered these horrendous acts. But the world doesn't come to a standstill because of these things. And we actually, instead of the world coming to a standstill and refusing to talk about things and banning these things within art and all those types of things, we actually need to be doing the opposite and encouraging discussions about this and things like this so that we can better educate people on the matters. So while I appreciate people not wanting to sit across from that character in particular, I think it needs to be tackled on a case-by-case basis. I don't think anyone should be shamed for sitting on either side of the fence on that one. Again, we just need to show compassion for the victims of things like this and not roll our eyes at it or anything like that. On a personal level, for me, I'm not against the character personally because he's a villain. And I think villains need to commit vile acts in order for us to understand that part of the world without actually experiencing it, or hopefully not actually experiencing these things. It's uncomfortable and it's really not a nice area to explore, but it's something that you need to think about and know about as an adult, and villains in art can allow you to do that. With that being said, if you don't want to think about those things during a game of Magic, and Negan does remind you of things like that and make you think about things like that, then that's, again, case-by-case basis, something that you discuss with your play group, I think. And again, can't say it enough, people shouldn't be shamed for sitting on either side of the fence on this one. But I think you do need to be compassionate towards the victims of crimes like this. Then the third and final point I will make is the Rules Committee have said that they are not banning these cards, and I actually think that there was a lot of wisdom in the decision and the write-up that was made with regards to this. I think it was missed on a lot of people. Basically, it's not the Rules Committee's job to punish anyone or send a message to Wizards for their anti-consumer business practices. Their job is to keep the format running smoothly, and as unpopular as these cards are, they don't stop anyone from playing the format or hurt anyone for playing the format specifically, other than arguably Negan, who we've just spoken about. With that being said, it's worth pointing out that there are members of the advisory group and the Rules Committee that are employed or sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, and their advice and opinions on this whole thing should be taken with a grain of salt. I've said for many years that I think it's weird that people who are sponsored by them get to make decisions about the rules of EDH as part of an apparently independent group. I never believed for a second since its conception that that group was ever independent. I think that's just some kind of weird marketing ploy. You can't have people be independent, employed, and impartial towards the decisions that are ultimately made by a company. They may well be very honest and there might be no foul play going on or anything, but I would personally, if it was up to me, I would have legitimately independent members of the group if it was up to me. For instance, if I was going to be on the advisory group, committee, whatever you want to call it, then I wouldn't take sponsorship from Wizards. Or if I was going to take some kind of sponsorship from Wizards, I wouldn't be on the advisory committee, because I think there's some kind of cross-contamination there. And I don't think you can be entirely impartial if you have a horse in the race. Anyway, they may well ban Negan just like they ban the cards like Crusade and all that stuff on the basis that it upsets people. I think if they do, they'll do it once they've made their money out of the Secret Lair. So, yeah, that'll just be an empty gesture at that point, but at least the card will be banned like people want it to be. We'll give it a few months and see what they do on that front. And with all that, I hope I answered all the questions that some of the naysayers had. I didn't really want to rant on about this, but some of the viewers asked me to in the last video, so here we are. On with the actual game now. We have, that is three CMC cards in hand, but we've got lands. I'm going to risk a free mulligan on that. Yeah, and a risk it was, apparently. Got into a worse hand, unfortunately, so let's go down a card. Alright, well, we've got Sylvan Library there at least, so let's keep there. And we will get rid of the Vizier. Everyone keeping a full grip apart from us, and Billy Kills decides to go in for the Tangled Veil, which can come in as a land from the new Zendikar set. And to read the bones for us, we may well have to make use of that. Let's just go for a tapped Overgrown Tomb. And then everyone just playing lands, apart from Billy Kills, who is going for a Sol Ring. And taking that into a Thornbite Staff, that's the card you want when you have Daryl in the command zone. A Crypt Breaker for us. Let's go for the Strip Mine, and we'll go Sylvan Library, and really keep our fingers crossed that we don't see any removal for that. Up against three friends of the channel, by the way. Jero the Guru, a patron of the channel, played against Jero plenty of times, and did they just pass through their turn by accident? I think they might have done. Yeah, unfortunately. Jero the Guru, anyway, on Negan, the Cold-Blooded. The True King, friend of the channel from the Discord, Rick, Steadfast Leader, and then Billy Kills, another patron. Daryl, Hunter of Walkers. Thaumatic Compass from Rick. And I'd also like to take the chance to thank Jero the Guru. The reason that I have access to these cards is because he gave me one of his codes. I don't play paper, and even if I did, I wouldn't buy these. But he gave me a code, which gave me access to the cards, so I'm able to release gameplay videos to all of you who are interested in playing with these cards. Anyway, Daryl, Hunter of Walkers, coming down now. Let's have a look at the Sylvan Library first, make sure we get that right. That survived until our next turn, thankfully. Alright, did get into a land. Let's put Siphon Flesh on top. And we'll keep the Lightning Greaves. So hopefully we can get into another land next turn. Let's go for the Vizier of the Scorpion. And that will give us a token. And the token will have Death Touch thanks to this. And don't forget, Michonne does bring in tokens as well. Anyway, Daryl starting to go off here. And they do have the Thornbite Staff. Getting rid of our Death Touch enabler. And then I'm not sure how the Walkers came in over here. This has flipped over straight away to prevent all damage that will be dealt to creatures you control, which switches off Daryl on this side of the field anyway. So that's a really good one for them to have with Rick. But yeah, Daryl just shooting all the zombies down, which is, yeah, that's really on theme for the show, isn't it? Up to 10 cards in hand anyway. And they get themselves a Harsh Mentor. Then Daryl is going in towards the True King, and they decide to take it, so they go up to 4 points of commander. Okay, and unfortunately, alright, well, we get into some lands at least. Unfortunately, the Daryl player managed to get out another creature, so Siphon Flesh won't necessarily grab the Daryl. In fact, it almost certainly won't. Might have to go for a board wipe with Demonic Tutor. Although they're really ahead on mana. This costs 4, so they could just get it straight back out again. I think we put the Siphon Flesh on top, and then we'll keep a land, and we'll drop the Llanowar Wastes here. And there's not really much point in going for the Crypt Breaker, is there? Maybe Demonic Tutor into Oubliette is the thing to do. Anyway, we'll go for a Lightning Greaves. And let's have a look at a Demonic Tutor as well. Yeah, I did put Oubliette in the deck. Usually add this to my black decks now. I'm just going to go for the Oubliette and try and get a 2-for-1. I mean, there's every chance they can get rid of Oubliette with green mana, but I would like to get rid of their commander, because it is card draw for them. Talisman of Conviction for Jero now, managing to keep up on mana. And then the Rick player activates the Thaumatic Compass, and the Harsh Mentor will trigger and shock them. Now making even more mana with a Dockside Extortionist. Going in for Terastodon. I bet that points at our Sylvan Library, yeah. Sylvan Library, Swiftfoot Boots, and Runetail. So we get some elephants. Now shooting the walkers, the zombie tokens over here, which will get them into even more cards. Oh, now a Basilisk Collar, so Death Touch as well for the Daryl player. Hopefully they haven't gotten into removal for Oubliette, although I wouldn't be surprised if they had. Getting rid of our elephants with the Death Touch and Lifelink, going up to 46 life. Now we've got Oubliette this turn if we want it. That is 1, 2 and 3. And then we'll have 2 left over. Yeah, and we've got a bunch of black in hand, so we can't go Oubliette and read the bones, unfortunately. Oubliette will actually get rid of the equipment as well, because Phases Out takes equipments and auras with it, so we could get the equipments as well as the commander here, assuming that they can't get rid of the enchantment. And I don't think we're going to strip mine them, because I don't think it hurts them all that much. So let's just go like that. Go after Daryl. That can phase out. And then we might as well play Crypt Breaker just for the hell of it. And we'll put the Greaves on there. That will shock us because the equip is an activated ability on an artifact. And does Terastodon have trample? No, so we'll probably use the Crypt Breaker as a chump blocker. Although, have we just played Crypt Breaker into Negan? This is the problem. I mean, you would think they're not pointing Negan at us. I dare say they choose Terastodon here, but they might try and get a 2-for-1. Yep, they both pointed the target at Terastodon. I think Jero had to do that there. If it wasn't such a big creature, they could try their luck with getting rid of the Harsh Mentor and Terastodon, but it's too risky to leave a big 9/9 in play, I think. Avenger of Zendikar with 7 cards left in hand. I dare say they've got a land left to play. Actually don't have all that many lands because it's only turn 6. It's further along than I thought it was. So there we go. They make a land and get a bunch of plus counters on the plants. Then playing a Lightning Greaves, and that goes on to the Avenger. And the 5/5 Avenger goes in at Negan. And we are getting a 2/2 Harsh Mentor. The white player has gotten out Paragon of New Dawns, by the way. An Anthem, and it can give stuff Vigilance. And then Bag of Holding has come down as well, while I was talking away. So it seems as though we might have managed to slow down Billy Kills nicely. Zendikar Resurgent isn't necessarily what we want. Yeah, maybe we just have to start going for Michonne at this point. So let's get her down. And we'll actually be able to tap the walkers that come in here with the Crypt Breaker. But we'll do that at the end of someone's turn, I think. We'll put the Lightning Greaves onto Michonne and get shocked by the Harsh Mentor. Oh, I'd very much like to get into an equipment that gains us some life. took out Batterskull, I think, because the equip cost is very high. But we've got the Basilisk Collar and the Thornbite Staff in here. Only one tutor, though, in Demonic Tutor, and we've used that. I just took out Vampiric Tutor because I had one card to cut and I didn't know which one to cut, so hopefully this game will give us some insight into which cards we like and which ones we don't. Anyway, we'll swing in with Michonne at Billy Kills because, oh, they've got all those plant tokens. I was just looking at the Dockside Extortionist, didn't see all these up here. Ugh. Yeah, and they have to be blocked as well. Oh, jeez. This is because I'm thinking about what I want to say about this whole set. Alright, well, we're going to lose our Michonne immediately due to my error there. We'll get rid of one plant at least. Mythos of Snapdax comes down now, and it has been cast with that. Do they choose or target with this? Yeah, it turns out we would have lost Michonne here anyway. So I actually don't feel too bad about that stupid mistake I just made. In response to this, let's tap these down and draw a card. That will shock us. That Harsh Mentor is doing some work on us. We lose life a lot as it is in this deck. Get into a land to make for next turn. I'd very much like to see the Urborg at some point, thanks to the Ancient Tomb being in play. So basically here they get to choose all of our permanents, one of each permanent type I think it is, from Artifact, Creature, Enchantment and Planeswalker. And we get to keep our lands. So the white player is going to lose their Thaumatic Compass. Then it is a plant token, and they should let them keep, let them keep the Sol Ring so that they have to get rid of the Lightning Greaves. And then we keep a zombie, and we keep our Lightning Greaves and Oubliette. It's a good idea to keep Oubliette in play. Otherwise Daryl's back online. And there we go, what's that? 3, 6, 7 and 8 treasure tokens created there with 5 cards in hand. So yeah, like I said, we would have lost Michonne to the Mythos of Snapdax anyway. And then it is play and equip with a Helm of the Host. Oh, actually not equipping, so holding up 5 mana curiously. Then the white player getting down Rick, and they go for First Strike and Lifelink, so a 2-2. Going in towards Billy Kills now. Arcane Signet for the Gruul player. Then following things up with Runic Armasaur. So there is some punishing us for using activated abilities and stuff like that in this deck. And they have gone down to 4 cards. Nothing else to do maybe? Oh, hopefully not. Seems as though we have slowed Daryl right down. Okay, Grey Merchant of Asphodel getting some life gain. Do we just recast Michonne here? I think we might have to, unfortunately. Yeah, let's just recast our commander. And then we can try and set up with Zombie Master next turn. Then we'll put the Lightning Greaves over onto Michonne, and I'm not going to make the mistake of swinging in again, I don't think. Yeah, we need to be swinging in with the Walkers, really. A Chroma's Memorial would be nice. But then no one would be able to block it anyway. Yeah, so we'll just have to leave it there and hope that no one does anything to our creatures. We do have a small Death Touch sub-theme here as well. That's why I said we have, what is it called? The Basilisk Collar. We've got Bow of Nylea. We've got Death Baron, which is a lord for the zombies, gives them Death Touch. Yeah, so we've got a few Death Touch things in the deck. Gorgon's Head is another equipment. Alright, they didn't use their treasure tokens at the end of our turn, so tapping 5 mana into Negan and its Beast Within onto the equipment. So it turns out Billy Kills was holding something up there. And if they're using Beast Within on the equipment, they're not using it on our Zendikar Resurgent, are they? Could have tapped out for that by now, but I don't want to play it and just leave it sat there. There's really no point in doing that. Maybe get a couple more lands into play before we go for Zendikar Resurgent. Cracking Myriad Landscape, the mono-white player, into the Runic Armasaur, which means Billy Kills will get to draw a card, and there will be 2 planes entering tapped over here. Puts them a step closer to Emeria the Sky Ruin, which I'm sure they have in the deck. Bag of Holding is draw and then discard, and they have discarded Darian, King of Keldor. Okay, so we're back round to the Gruul player now. And that is a Reclamation Sage. No prizes for guessing where that's going. Straight onto the oubliette, I dare say. Yep. So they're getting their commander back. It will be tapped at least. But we don't have Eternal Witness or anything like that in this deck. The problem with this commander is that there's too many... I mean, there's two tactics you want to go for, really. It's Zombie Tribal to a certain extent. And then you want equipments in there as well. And we're spread across a third tactic, which is Death Touch. So the typical things that you would add, like Eternal Witness and things like that to grab stuff back, we don't necessarily have. Anyway, they are turning in sideways at us with these things. So that smells like a board wipe to me. We'll just take a hit for 2 from the Stegosaurus, I think. And this is a 2-1, yep, so we'll block that with the Walker. And the plant token dies, so it will draw them a card. Oh, and it untaps, does it? Yeah, alright. Perhaps shouldn't have blocked there. Whoops. So now they get to chain off again. Yeah. First time playing against these cards, can you tell? Should have just let the 1 point of damage through. So Daryl is continuing to machine gun us away. They've just gotten into all the cards they need this game. And then they're going for the 2 damage onto the beast that they gave Negan. And yeah, they're probably just going to wipe the board entirely here. So getting rid of everything apart from Negan. They don't want Negan to go back into the command zone apparently. Because Negan will be able to come straight back out and make them sacrifice Daryl. Now it is Burning Tree Shaman. So more activated ability punishment for us. Then a Birds of Paradise as well. Okay, I don't think we can pay the kicker on this, can we? And even if we could, they've got this online, so we just can't play creatures, basically. Maybe it's just time to do what I don't want to do. And go for the Zendikar Resurgent. Then I'm thinking they might have Heroic Intervention held up here. This has been a very interactive deck so far, so I'm just going to keep them from holding up a Heroic Intervention. And we get them to draw a card. We'll have a damage dealt to us by the Shaman as well. And then we'll just have to hold back Michonne, I think. Solemn Simulacrum coming down. That will be one of the few creatures that they won't want a point removal at. Going for a Dusk. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. So that will get rid of Daryl here. How much are these to equip? That is 4 to equip. And this isn't a Shaman, is it? No. So, yeah, that'll be 4 to equip. That's only 2. So it's going to be 12 mana in total to do all that. Alright, in response, they're doing 2 damage to the Solemn Simulacrum. And the Burning Tree Shaman does deal 1 damage to themselves. Luckily, they've got lifelink from the Basilisk Collar, so they're not really worried about that. Michonne will go back into the command zone. That will cost a whopping 9 now. Then going for draw and discard with the Bag of Holding. And they discarded Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, which does go underneath the Bag of Holding. Daryl coming straight back into play, without haste, thankfully. And then going for Torbran, they will be able to equip both of their equipments onto Daryl next turn. Going over to the mono white player with the Dinosaur, and with the Reclamation Sage as well. Okay, a land for us, that's good. We will... I think we just have to play creatures into the Zendikar Resurgent. Well, let's go for Read the Bones first, and we'll try and scry some stuff we don't want onto the bottom. Okay, Liliana, Dreadhorde General. They probably just get rid of their Rex Sage and a Birds there. Yeah, Liliana doesn't really help us, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to play it. Gorgon's Head, we can't keep creatures in play, so... yeah, we could go for that. Try and get our commander into play with haste and force them to block it. Let's draw into that just in case. That's going to be something that we're just desperate if we play that. Yeah, maybe we just have to go for it now while we are... oh, while everyone else is tapped out. Yeah, I mean, I'm really not sure what to do here. We could try and set up with Yeah, let's just try and get some creatures into play. Just for the sake of drawing more cards with the Zendikar Resurgent. And we'll gain some life with the Grey Merchant of Asphodel as well. All these creatures will die near enough, but it's card draw for us at least. Another land. Play the Zombie Master. Alright, there's a Sol Ring. So let's play out the Sol Ring. Play a Swamp. And then we'll go for the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. It's not going to be as big a life swing as I would like, but might keep us in the game a tiny bit longer at least. We'll put the Greaves onto the Josu because it's a better blocker. Alright, so we'll just pass like that and see if Negan can do anything. There are 7 cards in hand over here. I'm hoping that Negan comes down here, and yes it does. So I'm again hoping that Daryl goes down. If we can just keep Daryl out of play, we can actually play the game here. Alright, not targeting Daryl. Wow. Why wouldn't you target Daryl? They went after Torbran, and Reclamation Sage went down. I'm assuming they were trying to get themselves a 2-for-1 there. So maybe they were trying to get rid of Torbran and Daryl. I think I would have just targeted Daryl there, to be honest. Anyway, going for Cataclysmic Gearhulk. Yep, it's going to be very difficult to keep creatures in play, apparently. Each player chooses an artifact creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents and sacks the rest. The Gearhulk is going to get rid of one of the equipments at least. It probably gets rid of Basilisk Collar. I dare say they keep Thornbite Staff. Yeah, choosing Thornbite Staff and their commander. We will choose Josu for the creature, Lightning Greaves for the artifact, and then the Mana Doubler is our only enchantment. And a bunch of treasure tokens there. Some zombies died during that board wipe, so Daryl will get to draw some cards. Now, Kaya's Guile. I was just thinking we want some graveyard hate, and I can't remember if I've put Bajuka Bog in here or not. Anyway, we're having to sacrifice our Josu, and I don't know if the exile is going at us. It is. Oh, it goes at every opponent. Alright. I thought that was a target opponent. I thought they were maybe targeting us because we are a zombie deck. We actually don't have... I don't know if we have any reanimation. We've got the dwarf, the black dwarf that reanimates all your stuff. But I don't think we've got anything other than that, because we had to jam equipments into the deck. Daxos, Blessed by the Sun, coming down for the white player, coupled with Griffin Airy, and then another card draw on the Bag of Holding. And they discard Aetherflux Reservoir. Okay. Well, it's turn 10, and I have no idea who's going to win this one. This is going to be a very long and grindy one, apparently. A Zendikar Resurgent coming out there as well. Difference is they've got cards in hand and we don't really. Okay, Murderous Rider. We might just forego the Swift End on that and play it for the card draw. Let's go in for our Michonne first. Playing her for the 3rd time now, I think it is. And we'll make some walkers. We've gotten into Arcane Signet. I think we can go for the Gorgon's Head here. Let's go for Arcane Signet first. And then we'll play that. And go for an equip onto our commander. You never know, we might actually be able to keep it in play for a turn. So now she has Haste and Death Touch and Shroud. And as long as she's equipped, she has to be blocked. So I think we go in over here at Daxos. Let's drop that. And yeah, I think we'll just hold on to the Swift End. Yeah, the mono white player. I don't really mind. I want the game to be over with, but I don't think swinging in at them and getting rid of Daxos really helps us end the game any quicker. So let's just show solidarity in swinging in at Billy Kills. The threat might be over there because they're struggling to keep their commander in play now. But if they get Haste and Thornbite Staff onto their commander, then they've still got card draw with these walkers that we've got. Now Negan going in at Billy Kills as well. Well, there's Butcher of Malakir. That might get a Swift End pointed at it. Yeah, they don't have a sack outlet now, so I'm just going to leave it here, but I think we'll have to go for a swift end on Butcher of Malakir. I just want to keep my creatures in play for longer than one turn. Nyx Lotus for the white player. And then returning all of their stuff from the bag of holding to hand. And Daxos going in towards Billy Kills as well. And they've got double mana over on that side of the field, don't forget. Yep, there's a Blasphemous Act, so don't get to keep our creatures in play for longer than a turn. That pretty much sums this game up, doesn't it? Yeah, no point in using the Swift End then. Glad I kept hold of it. I have a feeling that we'll be using the Swift End on the Daryl anyway. Like I said, they've got double mana, so they'll be able to get it down easily enough. Okay, Taurian Mauler. That'll get a lot of plus counters on it. And it is a Shaman in addition to all of its other creature types, because it has Changeling. So it's every creature type, and it does trigger the Thornbite Staff, so they decide to throw it on there. Then Ether Flash. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to it. So that deals with our zombie tokens nicely, doesn't it? Then Fiery Emancipation. Yeah, getting some good enchantments into play. Seems to be like a Gruul Torbrand deck. So now when anything comes into play, it's going to have 6 damage dealt to the creatures. This is just not going to be a creature game. Well, if we're desperate to keep a creature in play, we could always go Heroic Intervention in response to this. But, I mean, I don't know if we care all that much, to be honest. What I might care about is the lifelink on this. Yeah, I think I'll just play this for the card draw. So we'll go Murderous Rider. Okay, Undead Augur. I mean, yeah, that's good if we can keep our creatures in play, which we can't, so we'll have to just keep that in hand as well, I think. I suppose we could play that, play the Undead Augur, and keep it in play with the Heroic Intervention. I'm just thinking if we can get into the combo that we've got in the deck, which is Phyrexian Altar, the Gravecrawler, so you can play it infinitely, and then the 4-mana zombie that drains our opponent every time a creature dies, or a zombie dies, I forget. But we'd need to draw 2 cards in order for that to happen, so I don't think it's going to work for us. The Murderous Rider goes on the bottom of our library whenever we have it die. Yeah, so let's just go for the Undead Augur. Alright, we draw into Great Henge. So we'll wait for the zombie to come into play, and it'll trigger the enchantment. Then we'll have to go for the Heroic Intervention. And all I'm thinking is if we can play zombies out and have them die, we'll draw a card from the Zendikar Resurgent, and we'll draw a card from this as well. So the damage from Ether Flash is not going to get rid of our Augur. Let's play a land. And we could just go in for our commander here. It's going to die, but it'll draw us 3 cards because 2 zombies will die and we'll have cast Michonne. So that just leaves us with 2 mana held up. And we get into another land. The Ether Flash will trigger, and this will kill Michonne. Then Michonne's trigger will resolve, bringing in some zombies, which will die to the Ether Flash as well. And when the zombies die, we will lose a life and draw a card. Okay, Lord of the Undead is a zombie to play. And we get ourselves a Verdant Catacombs as well. With that, I think all we can do is equip the Gorgon's Head to this to give it Death Touch. We'll throw the Greaves on there as well. And maybe we just have to play Lord of the Undead for the sake of card draw next turn. Jero casting Arcane Signet. And then they just pass the turn. Undo Inversion. Destroy all non-land permanents. Oh, wow. Okay. So, game goes on even longer. We are going to see everything destroyed here. Apart from Negan stuff, maybe. Yep, Teferi's Protection. I mean, they're just protecting a few bits of mana, really. Although I suppose they really could do with them because they don't have that many lands. So using the Teferi's Protection now. So the undead augur dies, and that will draw us a card at least. Chroma's Memorial. Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near our commander now, let alone a Chroma's Memorial as well. Hornet Queen from the Gruul player. They finally had their Thornbite Staff dealt with at least. Alright, Diagraph Colossus for us. Can we fish anything out? We could get the Undead Augur. Oh no, we don't have Lightning Greaves anymore. I was thinking we could grab that with Lord of the Undead. Let's just play the... Yeah, we'll get a Bayou with the Verdant Catacombs. Yeah, I don't know if there's all that much point in going for the Chroma's Memorial yet. I think we just go... I think we go Diagraph Colossus. And then after that... Oh, actually, we can go Great Henge first, can't we? Yeah, let's go Great Henge. And then we can go for Lord of the Undead, and we'll see how long our creatures last this time. So we'll tap the Great Henge, gain a couple of life, and play Lord of the Undead. That will make us a 2/2 zombie. And we'll pass the turn like that. Oh, actually, we get one step closer to a combo at least. Gravecrawler and Phyrexian Altar. If we can grab this next turn, we'll be able to draw into the combo. So, yeah, we're not done yet. Might be able to bait out some kind of destruction for artifacts with a Chroma's Memorial. They might even point it at Great Henge. Everyone's fairly low on cards at this point. So we may well be able to combo off next turn. Jero passing the turn again. Elesh Norn, well, luckily, we do need the Lord of the Undead to survive in order to grab this, in order to have a chance of getting the combo going. And thankfully, we went for the Great Henge, so Lord of the Undead is going to survive the Elesh Norn. Now they go for... Now they go for Oblivion Ring onto our Lord of the Undead, so there goes that plan. So at this point we need to get rid of Elesh Norn, which I dare say if anyone's got removal they will point it at the Elesh Norn. We've got plenty of permanent removal, but we haven't drawn into any of it yet, so there's every chance that we can get into something for the Oblivion Ring. Daryl comes down and goes for Farhaven Elf, which will die immediately to the Elesh Norn, but they'll still get the land into play. Okay, no means of discarding the from under the floorboards. And there's not really all that much point in casting that thanks to Elesh Norn. I think we might as well just throw out a Chroma's Memorial at this point. And then if someone manages to get rid of the Diagraph Colossus, then we can always sacrifice it to the Grim Backwards, which will draw us a card. Yeah, I'm not going to run out the Phyrexian Altar and show our opponents what we might be doing. Just going to swing our 1/1 zombie in at Billy Kills. That has flying and vigilance, so they can't do anything about that. Noteworthy that we've got protection from red now as well. It might be too late for that, but if anyone's got any more burn-based board wipes, then we don't need to worry about those currently. Negan coming out again and gets rid of the Elesh Norn. That's really good for us. Now we just need to try and get rid of Oblivion Ring, or at least draw into our last combo piece off the top, which would be incredibly lucky with 62 cards left in the library and no tutors. Yeah, they got the Aetherflux Reservoir back into hand with the Bag of Holding, I think it was called. So I might have to start swinging over there. Then Darien, King of Kjeldor. Yeah, that's a pretty good combination, isn't it? Not much human support for the Rick player. Haven't seen all that many humans yet. Anyway, they go up to 26 and tap out. Now, a target opponent is going to make some walkers. They are going after the Mardu player, probably because they've built their deck around only having 1 or 2 permanents of each type in play, thanks to the sacrifice effect of Negan. So, putting 3 walkers over there. And then a Cindervines is coming into play. And it looks like we're getting back round to our turn. And we get a land for the turn, so we'll just make that. and go for From Under the Floorboards. No plus counters on these, unfortunately, and we'll get pinged by the Cinder Vines. This is where the life gain from the Great Henge comes into play. These also come in tapped, unfortunately, so it doesn't go all that well with the Akroma's Memorial. And our commander costs 13, believe it or not. I don't think we can afford it. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Nope, we would have had to tap out for that near enough. So maybe we just go for a card draw by getting rid of a zombie. So we'll sacrifice there. That will make Daryl draw a card. It will create Negan a treasure token, and it will draw us a card. Alright, Cover of Darkness. Yeah, might as well play it. We'll get pinged again. And that is going to name Zombie in this deck. Then we'll swing ourselves over to Billy Kills again. We could always swing in at the white player, give them some soldiers to swing in at Daryl as well. But yeah, this is the problem with not sitting across the table from someone. If I could just ask someone quickly without waiting for a response online, then that's probably what I would do. Jero with 2 cards in hand, passing straight through his turn. Rick's Steadfast Leader coming into play for the mono white player. And then playing their Planeswalker that they put into play from the Bag of Holding as well. And Darien starting to trigger now. Whenever they cast a non-creature spell, this is going to ping them. And whenever that happens, they're going to create a soldier token. So they won't necessarily care about the pings from this, especially with the life gain from Aetherflux Reservoir. They go for Daxos, Blessed by the Sun, with the Ajani, so whenever a creature enters, they'll gain a life now, or dies. And then they swung in at us with 3/3 First Strike and Lifelink. So, worried about what we are going to do, apparently. Giving Negan some more zombie tokens. And the zombie tokens here do have fear, so it's curious as to why they didn't swing in over here to, or anywhere, wherever they'd like. Yeah, the Cover of Darkness does give all zombies in play fear. So it does count for these ones. Yeah, what we do here is we go Phyrexian Altar, and then we can infinitely cast our Gravecrawler into the Great Henge. We just need to get rid of Cinder Vines. And there's every chance that we're unable to do what we would like to do here, but let's try it. We'll go Golgari Signet first. Alright, getting rid of Cinder Vines now. They are going after the Aetherflux Reservoir. That plays into our hand nicely. They might have more removal in hand. That does trigger the Darien King of Kjeldor, because they have damage dealt to them, which will gain them some life with Daxos from the soldiers entering. Yeah, so there's every chance that there's removal over here. 2 cards in hand apiece. I think we just have to go for it. We have to try and end this game, don't we? So let's go for the Gravecrawler first, and we'll make a zombie. This will draw us a card with the Henge. Alright, get into a forest. Let's go for Phyrexian Altar as well. And now we'll see if we can go off. We should be able to draw our deck here. Sacrifice the Gravecrawler for a black mana. This will draw Billy Kills a bunch of cards as well, that's the only problem. See who can get something going first. Alright, Nature's Law, just keep getting into mana at this point. We're making a bunch of treasure tokens over here. Another piece of mana. Alright, we're getting 2 Liliana, so we could get the combo piece back with that if we want to. Let's just carry on. Okay, Assassin's Trophy, so I think we go Assassin's Trophy onto Daryl so that they stop drawing cards. They've got a full grip of 7. And if they don't have any removal for our stuff here, then they're not going to get into it until their next turn. And then we carry on. Okay, I'm just drawing a whole bunch of lands here. This is taking so long to do. I'm only going to do it a few more times, I think. But just know that you could draw your entire deck doing this if you were doing it in paper. Or you could say to your opponents, I'm going to do this 20 times. And just put 20 triggers on the stack of whatever it is that you're triggering when you do this. Yeah, more mana. This just hasn't been our game at all. Alright, well, there's an Army of the Damned at least. So maybe that's our game plan. We just play Army of the Damned and hope that our stuff survives until next turn. I think that'll be a quicker way to do things. Alright, there's the Murderous Rider as well. Now, a Black Blade Reforged. Could we knock anyone out with that? This is per land. We don't have haste yet, unfortunately, and we don't have a legendary. Let's just try our luck a couple more times, see if we can get into a legendary. Although we don't have haste either. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good here. Let's just not win with a combo, because, as we all know, on Magic Online, it just takes forever. We'll play out the Endless Ranks of the Dead. I think Hull Breach was cast on... Yeah, I think Hull Breach was cast on our Chroma's Memorial, by the way. So we don't have haste anymore. I must have missed that. Let's go Black Blade Reforged. Then we'll sacrifice some zombies for mana. Then we'll put the Black Blade Reforged onto the Diagraph Colossus. And I'm going to go for Basilisk Collar as well for some life gain. And we'll equip that to the Diagraph Colossus. Then we'll swing in Billy Kills. That takes them down to 25. We are up to 37. And like I said, we've got infinite mana here. By recasting Gravecrawler over and over again into Diagraph Colossus, we can sacrifice the zombies for mana. We've got infinite card draw. There's infinite tokens over here. But we're just not going to do that on Magic Online because it just takes forever. I'll just do it a couple more times so that we've got a lot of zombies to put into the ranks of the undead. Alright, just telling my opponents there that we just go for a draining zombie and then cast that and win the game from there. We carry on with the Gravecrawler combo and drain everyone out. I'll put that zombie up on the screen. They tell us that they do not have a means of winning from here because they do not have anything in hand where they can interact with us. So luckily, the last minute combo that I decided to put into the deck has paid off for us there. So there we are, we all decided to scoop it up there. Technically I won that one because of the combo, but not being able to do it on Magic Online, you know. I think everyone got a decent showing with their decks there. Daryl got off to a lightning fast start. There was a lot of control coming over from Negan as well. It was just one of those games where you don't get to keep your creatures in play, which we need to. So yeah, plenty of answers in that one. That's just what the games are like when they're full of answers and interaction. It's just difficult to keep your stuff afloat. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this Walking Dead game. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up to try and balance out the ratio of dislikes that this video is going to get. And you can let me know if you'd like to see some more from these commanders. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.